Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Coffee and Football, presented by Adam Lowy and the Lowy Law Firm. I'm your host, Blake Monroe, where I'm joined each and every day by Bobby Burton and the shaded Jerry Hamilton.
Got to start every show if Texas is number one, shaded.
There you go. That's
true.
true.
For at least the next 25 days.
Well, be sure to tell us where you're checking in from, what you're drinking, get those questions in. And we're 24 days away from kickoff, so be sure to tell us who your favorite number 24 is as well. We'll revisit that here in a little bit. But we're going to open with some news that happened yesterday, and I got a video of it here, and we'll let the video
I got a video I want to show you first, and then we'll get into the rest of the meet.
What's up, Longhorns? It's Glenn Powell, fellow Texas alum. I have a newfound respect for what it takes to join a football team. It takes grit, it takes grind, and most importantly, it takes heart. Marshall, your hard work has not gone unnoticed. No! That is why Texas is awarding a scholarship.
When we talk about everybody in this room has a role in this organization, this is the epitome of that, dude. I couldn't be more fired up for you, man. Congratulations.
You know, y'all are part of the biggest reason why I show up every day. Been doing this for 5 years. It doesn't get old. Keep working. This is the dream, man.
Good stuff. Marshall Landwehr from a Highland Park High School. Guys, he is a fifth-year guy, too. So he waited 5 years. He's a linebacker, reserve linebacker. He's been running some second and third team at times. Special team stalwart for the Longhorns as well. He'll be on all the special teams, I think, for Texas on coverages, on coverage kicks, kick covers, especially. Congratulations to that young man today becoming a scholarship player at the University of Texas. Always fun to see that sort of stuff. Glenn Powell, by the way, making that announcement to him. I think Glenn Powell has a movie coming out where he's going to be a football player as well, the former Longhorn, now in having such a successful career in the movies. He combined that with a promo for his movie. So there we go.
Coaches love culture warriors, scholarship or not, culture warriors.
Yep, that's a good way to put it.
That's like the term culture, I think, is overused in sports these days in general. But culture warriors within a program is not underused. They're very important, vital.
Think about that. I mean, what you just said is probably how Texas got it turned. It wasn't, yes, Sark can create the trappings of culture, but he can't make them do it.
Yeah.
You know, it has to be the Rashawn Johnsons of the world that turn it.
Yeah. Yeah, and guys on this team, Ryan Niblett, who didn't transfer out, who continues to try to fight and find a role at Texas and will do whatever the staff asks him to do. A walk-on that stuck around 5 years, that's hard stuff, man, when you know, for a kid. And they love being there, obviously, but the work you put in for the reward is very little.
Tell you another one that's –
those guys are very important.
Jerry, you mentioned Ryan Niblett. How about Warren Roberson?
Yeah.
He's a guy that could have easily transferred in the offseason trying to find a place because he looks like he's blocked right now at corner, right? But all he's done, he had a pair of interceptions on Saturday, had another interception yesterday in practice. So, I mean, fighting through adversity is a valuable trait. I'll just put it that way.
Well, yesterday there was a little bit of media availability, and we're going to talk about that here in just a moment. But first, Bobby, I'm going to let you tell everyone about Adam Lowy and the Lowy Law Firm.
Yeah, absolutely. Adam and his team over at Lowy Law Firm have been helping injured Texans for more than 20 years. If you've been injured in a car wreck, truck wreck, automobile accident of any kind, from ATV to 18-wheeler, give Adam and his group a shout, loweylawfirm.com. Adam and his team will give you a free, no-strings-attached consultation to see if you might be due compensation for your injury and loss. Again, loweylawfirm.com. Thanks, Adam, for your sponsorship of On Texas Football and making this episode possible with your sponsorship. Appreciate you very much.
Hey, guys. Well, as I said, Sark went to the podium yesterday. What were y'all's main takeaways from that? What did we learn?
Several different pieces for me. He said one thing was he said the defense is certainly ahead of the offense at this phase. He said that that's the case in every camp just about that he's ever been part of, and that is certainly the situation today. He also had a couple of news and notes. DJ Campbell back at practice. Ryan Wingo at practice, but not a full go yet. Still getting over dehydration that he had I don't want to say serious, but he had major medical attention given to him because of dehydration last week. There's a number of different pieces going on right now, but the thing that Sark basically called out was the defense is absolutely ahead of the offense at this point. He hopes to see some progress with the offense this week and next.
Yeah, I thought one of the things that was interesting, he talked about Emmett Mosley.
Yes, he did.
And I was looking for the quote. Emmett, I'm impressed with him. He's a bigger guy than you think. Even for me, everything about him is probably better than you think. When Sark starts giving praise to players like this, those are ones you kind of put away in the memory bank and refer back to later. He's pretty much telling everybody Emmett Mosley's going to be a big-time player without saying he's going to be a big-time player.
Hey, Blake, I want to play this from Steve Sarkisian, if you don't mind, real quick as well. One of the things that of all the little nuanced things that Jerry was just talking about there, maybe the best thing that I heard last night was something from Sark describing how Arch is leading right now. I'm going to play that real quick.
Try not to get too involved when players are having meetings like that, because that's for them. If a guy's looking for extra meeting time, extra work, but that doesn't surprise me from Arch. That's the way he approaches the game. He wants to be really good. We had a walkthrough last night. I thought was a really good walkthrough after practice yesterday, and I was leaving the bubble, and I turned around and Arch had the offense and about half the offense out there having his own walkthrough with those guys afterwards. So that's the way he operates. That's just what he does. He's always going to try to find an edge. He's always going to try to make sure that he's in the best space to compete at a high level.
I just love that. I mean, work after practice, not just with the wide receivers, Jerry, not just timing routes, not just, working with the tight ends or the running backs on handoff or running backs with handoffs, etc. Entire offense working extra after practice.
Yeah, I look at
that's leadership.
Roger in the chat said, "Wow, sounded like Peyton." Yeah, I mean that's how you grow up in the Manning family. I mean that's something that Peyton definitely instilled in him. I'm quite sure Peyton said you need to be the first guy in the facility and the last guy to leave. He said, if you want your team to rally behind you, that's what you have to be as the quarterback of your team, period. Some other things Sark said that I thought was interesting. He likes the offensive line depth, even after the Kojo injury.
Yep.
He said the defense is doing a good job of playing the ball. We've mentioned that. Warren Roberson had a couple of picks. I think maybe Manny had one yesterday. There's been some picks. We mentioned Emmett Mosley. He said he had a lot of praise, and I'm just reading off of what Jeff Howell said to make sure it was correct because he was there with CJ. There's a lot of praise for the interior defensive linemen, and Sark believes Texas has more guys who can play snaps this year than last year. Now, I think that's a very important note as well. We kind of talked about that after the two open practices, but again, that depth is something to know on the interior defensive line because he's not talking about portal guys. I think he's talking about the Sharma. They love the two freshmen. A lot of players there.
Jerry, last year they went 5 deep at defensive line, and they didn't go 5 deep until Alex January came on to the end of the year. But really, they got by last year with Vernon Broughton, Alfred Collins, Jermaine Lole, and Bill Norton primarily. January started getting about 5 to 10 snaps a game later in the year, right? Now, he had some early too, so I don't want to take those away from him, but really where he started getting into the rotation, So they had 5 defensive tackles last year. This year, they may have 7.
Yeah.
That's a fundamental. And one of the guys he mentioned yesterday, Jerry, by the way, we didn't get a chance to see because he was held out because of the ankle injury. He said they like Levon Johnson right now too, young man from that transferred in from Maryland. So Travis Shaw, Alex January, Cole Brevard, Murad Watson. He called him very athletic yesterday, by the way. Steve Sarkisian did. So there's a number of different pieces to this puzzle that Texas now has at defensive tackle. Hopefully they get – I don't want to say they get more out of them because I thought the defensive tackles played admirably last year. But to Jerry's point, he always thought they were going to be deeper, and Sark seems to be echoing Jerry's comments from this summer.
The thing about the depth is those guys will always or almost always be fresh. That's where the depth is big to me, is like when you can rotate in guys who are always fresh because they can play the right number of snaps. Like in big games, Murad Watson's going to play a lot of snaps, right? But there may be a couple of games where they taper off his snaps because they have that depth and everybody's fresh when they come into the game. So that's the ideal place to be. If Levon Johnson plays 15 snaps, they're going to get his 15 best snaps a game. He's not out there for 30 and you get 15, 18 of his best snaps out of 30. That's the whole difference there. And I think that's what PK was talking about before the season. And that's what Sark was hitting at yesterday without saying it, is that depth means you get everybody's best snaps. And if you get everybody's best snaps when they're in the game, you can put real pressure on an offensive line over the course of 4 quarters.
Okay, we got, let's see here. Hey, super chat real quick from AS85. He says, it's going to be fun to see what number of days Blake's muting overlaps with days left of football. May just be one, but I can't wait to see.
Hey, somebody take a screenshot of this 13th on August 6th and make sure in a couple of days that number doesn't change to 20 and Blake doesn't try to rig the game. Make sure everybody knows the date of the 13th.
I just got to say this. Blake counts the weekends when he doesn't work, when he doesn't do any videos. He counts those days as not being muted.
I do not do those. These are legit honest days.
Hey, real quick, number 24s. We said we're 24 days out. Current number 24 is on the roster. Jerry, you and I just mentioned him, Warren Roberson on defense, and then Ricky Stewart on offense, the young freshman out of Tyler. Some old guys that were number 24. Let's start with a running back, Blake, if you've got one. I think that's A.J. Jam Jones from Jamestown, Ohio.
Yep.
That's where you got the name Jam from. Ted Coy. Wow, look at that one.
Raymond Claiborne.
Fort Worth product, by the way.
Yeah.
Played running back and DB. Raymond Claiborne was a wishbone halfback that converted into I think 10-year plus NFL player at defensive back for the Longhorns.
By the way, there's another culture warrior in a program. Could have transferred out easily.
Oh, Jonathan Brooks.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, that whole running back group, that famous photo of all 5 of them now on NFL teams, is pretty good. Jonathan Brooks, Ted Coy. Did we mention him? Ted Coy, still to this day, not only did he play on the national championship from 1969, but one of my favorite facts about him, when I was growing up, O.J. Simpson's 2,000-yard barrier was like the note of life. You know, that's like, I can't believe somebody rushed for 2,000 yards in a season. Ted Coy was the blocking back for O.J. Simpson in that 2,000-yard season. Give you a sense, but a national champion in his own right at the University of Texas.
Okay, let's see here. We got another super chat. This one from Football Junkie. He says, any concerns with all the turnovers by Arch? He reported that an interior defensive lineman, Anthony Hill, Manny, Taff, and Warren all had picks against Arch the last couple of practices.
I'm not going to go over somebody else's report, first of all. I would appreciate if people didn't mention that. I'd let them do their own thing. But I will say this. Arch was very cautious with the ball through Saturday. Sark yesterday said that Arch or that the quarterbacks had been looser with the ball than he wanted to the last couple of days. And then he went through the fact that Muhammad had a couple of interceptions. Jelani McDonald had one, as well as Warren Roberson.
Going back to the pictures real quick. Jay says, are those guys from the black and white pictures really that good? We never talk about those guys now.
Some of them really were. Some of them really were.
All right, Jerry, let's talk a little recruiting because in the midst of all the practice news and notes and media availabilities, there was a little recruiting news that came out yesterday.
Yeah, so we've been talking about it. Jake Krell, the 4-star plus edge out of Orlando, Florida, used to be at Bishop Moore, now at IMG Academy. This will be year 2 at IMG Academy. He is going to announce his decision August 12th. We had kind of been talking, would he do it on August 1st for the IMG Media Day? But people at IMG told us, no, not then. At that point in time, I talked to somebody at IMG Tuesday morning, and they're like, we don't think it's going to August, though. I mean, October, though. So that there was some thought that he might hold off and announce a decision in October. I believe his birthday, maybe a parent's birthday is in October as well. But that IMG did not believe that was going to happen. And they really like these kids to get decisions done, the senior kids, before the season when possible, because they're chasing big things from a high school perspective. Oh, at 55, got to move your feet, bro. Jake Krell is going to announce on August 12th, and we believe Texas is the favorite over Oklahoma and Ole Miss. So we'll see what happens there. I think he would come into, if he commits to Texas, the if game, as a designated pass rush specialist that needs some time, wherever he goes, Oklahoma, Ole Miss, whatever, to add to that frame. He's about 6'2", maybe 6'2" and change, 225-ish right now. So he's going to need to add weight to that frame, kind of similar frame to a Trey Moore, I think, seeing him in person. Not that I saw Trey Moore as a high schooler, but where his frame can go. I think there's some similarities there in the build, the arm length, and kind of where that frame can go, where his strength is right now. But we'll see what happens there. But I think Texas is a pretty good spot. This guy goes against really good players every day. I mean, every day in practice, it's a Kenny Pay, the 5-star, 4-star plus offensive tackle going to USC. Brett Colajay, who committed to USC, the offensive guard, who Texas had recruited at some point but didn't really bring in for an OV. I mean, all 5 starters on the offensive line at IMG are Power 4 guys. So you go against the best in practice. You have a real strength and conditioning program there. He's kind of training right now with what it's like to be a Power 4 football player. That's the good thing about IMG. Now, they may create closer to finished products coming out if kids have been there a long time at times, but this kid knows what it's all about. Wherever he goes to college, he's going to know what the expectations are and what it's all about because he's lived it for 2 years at IMG.
Jerry, one of the things we talked about, and I wrote about this morning on Texas Football, Texas has some really good prospects right now at the jack strong side edge position. They don't on the opposite side. Look, Texas at strong side edge right now has Ethan Burke. They have Colton Vosick, correct? They have Lance Jackson. They have Zeno Omozulu, and they have even Justice Terry to some degree. On the weak side, they have Colin Simmons, Brad Spence, and Smith Orogbo.
And Orogbo's coming off the knee but practicing.
Yeah. And I will say I haven't put this out on the website yet, but I have heard their early returns on Smith Orogbo have been very promising.
Oh, he's got a ton of talent.
Yeah, I want to put that out there, but that I say that with some words of caution because it is still very early for him getting on the football field at Texas, but promising. Still, that's a dramatically different. How do I want to put this? Depth chart, right? Compared to the opposite end at Jack Edge. Now they could flip Ethan Burke to weak side if they needed to, perhaps in a pinch because he's played over there.
Yeah,
played there until Colin Simmons arrived. They could move Trey Moore down, so they have some manufactured depth. But when you start talking about Jake Krell, he's definitely that weak side end.
Yes.
He fits into that positional depth for them.
We have another super chat this morning while we're talking a little recruiting. This one from Juan Garza. Thank you as always, Juan. What are your thoughts on the 2027 recruits, big names that are being crystal balled to Tech? Can they sign them to contracts already or no?
No, they can't. Can't sign contracts to players that don't show up on campus. The only thing you can do is make an offer. But no contracts can be signed.
Yeah. And honestly, I don't even know what guys you're referencing. Somebody would have to bring up names on that. Obviously, Tech's going after the edge from Savannah.
I think that's who he's talking about.
That kid's a stud. I saw him work out last year when I went to see Walter Mathis. They all work out at the same place. That kid's I think it's Damian Guyton. He is a dude.
And Jerry Ike wants to know, is Texas in on Zane Rowe, the tight end from Denton Geyer?
They are recruiting Zane Rowe for sure. I think he wasn't able to go to camp this year. I think that was the camp that Texas had to cancel in June. But yes, Texas is on Zane Rowe. The question there is he going to be a tight end? Is he going to be a defensive edge, a big edge player? We'll see in time. That kid keeps getting bigger and bigger, but I think he prefers tight end right now.
And then we have another super chat from Seth. Thank you, Seth. He says, Jerry, what makes kids a more finished product? Is it the fear for kids from an IMG or modern day?
Not
or Katie.
Not just that. It's, when you talk to college coaches, it's always like if you get into a discussion with college coaches about the state of Texas and the state of Georgia, state of Florida, the setup in Texas with your booster clubs, your athletic period every day, having a strength and conditioning coach at the high school, 9-10 coaches fully paid on staff. Texas creates more closer to finished products physically at some spots out of high school than a state like Florida does, who doesn't have resources, may have 3 full-time coaches, doesn't have an athletic period. If you're in certain counties, it's county to county in that state. So there's that. The more raw kids come out of some states versus others. I think Georgia's catching up to Texas, and some of those guys are getting closer. What colleges view, and I'm the same way. I see it the same way. But with IMG, look, if you're at IMG 3 years, 2+ years. So if you're there a spring and then play 2 seasons, you're there 2 years because you graduate early. But say 2 to 3 years at IMG. They have a full-time nutritionist. They have full-time strength and conditioning, which is every day, year-round when you're there. They have everything set up. The high-level coaching there. They have everything set up to create closer to a finished product physically than most kids leaving high school. And now that's what kids – I don't think that's what they want when they go to schools like this, but they want to accelerate their development so that, in theory, they can come in and play earlier in college and be prepared to be a Power 4 football player. With that comes the small price of you may not have as much physical upside as a kid that's coming out raw. But I will tell you this. Like, Bobby, remember when it used to be frowned upon when a high school kid would reclass?
Yeah.
I had this discussion with 2 people recently. One was a college coach. With the portal now, it's a good thing to have more development physically coming out of high school and even be a reclass kid, because you're going against real men nowadays. There's more 22 and 23-year-olds, whatever college you pick, whether it's football or basketball, you're playing against more older men now. So it's a great topic of discussion. And in basketball, with all the international guys coming over, also the college basketball now, those guys have been playing pro-level ball for 2 or 3 years. So it's almost a good thing to be a little more developed physically now or be half a year older player.
I also think it's something even simpler than some of the things you mentioned, Jerry. How can a player be maxed out earlier? Well, in a lot of schools, especially these enormously sized schools that have 4,000 and 5,000 students, there's a lot of specialization at a very early age. You only play basketball. You only play football. You only, do what you only play baseball to get the max. I mean, because you've got to maximize yourself to even get on the team.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you know, it's been proven over time that while specialization can help some guys, actually playing multiple sports can help others better. And I think a lot of these bigger schools where you hear about guys maxing out, it comes from specialization very early.
Yeah.
And not playing multiple sports because, like, and even Alfred Collins is a great example, right? You know, defensive lineman, All-American defensive lineman in high school, but also a great basketball player, right?
Yeah.
In high school. Well, he had a lot left to grow, and you saw that over time. He finally got there, but it took longer. Now he had some injuries to get in the way at times, but he was in a perfect example of a guy that wasn't maxed out, in part because he wasn't specialized. He had never spent an off season in the weight room because he's busy playing basketball. So I think it also, one of the key factors when you start talking about that is specialization at these large high schools, because parents and kids feel like they have to be, you know, find one path. Now, it doesn't make it wrong. I'm not trying to tell people it's wrong. Sometimes it is the right call to do that, but there are times when it's not.
Yeah, I've always loved the basketball combination for football players.
Oh, yeah.
It's feet, reactive quickness, body quickness. I mean, there's a basket always changing direction, force change of direction, 5, 6, 7 times in a defensive possession. That stuff is invaluable for football players. I love it when offensive linemen play basketball. I think it is great for those guys. Feet, reactive quickness, body quickness, ability to sit in your hips and get down in the defensive stance, hold your position. Man, football, basketball is a great combo for me. TJ Johnson, this is
wait. I want to say something before we go to that, Jerry. I was at a coaches conference 30 years ago, right when I was 24, 25. And Jimmy Johnson was speaking, the former Cowboys head coach. And he said, you play football with your feet.
Yeah.
He goes, because he was asked a question, and I was it wasn't a recruiting section. It was like a scouting section of the conference. And he said, one of the first things we look for is somebody's feet.
Absolutely. That's the first thing I look at.
That's what he said. So
look, it doesn't matter. Like, it's the simplest thing in sports. I don't care what sport you're looking at. You ever seen a great tennis player with bad feet, slow feet? Nope. You ever seen a great soccer player with slow feet? Nope. I mean, just go down the list. Like, a lot of times people talk about the build of a guy or whatnot. We talk about it all here, but when I go out and watch a kid, it doesn't matter if it's Diabell, KJ Lacey, it doesn't matter. I start with the feet. That's your foundation and go from there. I've never seen a great player that had bad feet. So I'm like, it just doesn't happen. TJ Johnson has a really good question, because I do have a strong thought on this one. Which position is a bad idea to reclass? I think if you're starting a QB, it's beneficial to get those senior snaps and reps. I go way beyond that. And so this is my real thought. And I do think this set Quinn back missing his senior year of football in high school. I think if you're a quarterback or a point guard, you can never talk about this enough. If you're a quarterback at Austin Westlake, a Southlake Carroll, Keelan Russell at Duncanville, just go down the list. KJ Lacey at Saraland, a point guard, wherever that school is. There is so much in terms of your growth mentally from a leadership standpoint to be the leader of your team, your high school in some instances, and a community. You can never replace that your senior year. And I know there's a race to get to the money, to get to the NIL and all of that, but it's invaluable what you gain as a senior leader of a team, a school, and a community. If you're a quarterback or point guard on a really good team, and if you are really good, your team's going to be really good in most instances, or you're going to go to a school that has really good players. But man, it's always going to be undervalued that leadership component and that mental growth that comes with it, when you face that pressure, and there is some pressure for these kids of being the quarterback at Westlake with high expectations, the quarterback at Southlake with state title aspirations, the point guard of Willeridge if you're TJ Ford, right? Or whoever you want to reference. The easy answer is, oh, just go play these national circuits now as a high school basketball senior. And that's great if you want that exposure. But I think people are sometimes miss how important the leadership growth is, that component, where you're at in your community, at your school.
I agree with the leadership component. I would add this: offensive linemen, let your body grow and develop naturally over time with, the right kind of exercise. If you really have designs on playing football for, I don't know, for your career, so you want to be an NFL player, give your body time to get there.
Yeah.
Rome was not built in a day. It is a marathon, not a sprint, as an offensive lineman. I'm just here to tell you. So that would be the one position. What are you rushing to get to the NFL for when your body is not even going to be ready yet?
Yep.
That would be mine.
Something we are ready for is for Jerry Hamilton to tell us about Gooders today.
The thing is, the Gooders are on every morning because Texas is ranked number 1 in the coaches poll. Jeez, saw that coming. All right, so here we go. Gooders, stylish sunnies, starting at only $25 a pair, 1-year warranty. Have to read it, 30-day free returns. I don't need them, which means you don't either. They're lightweight and comfortable, 100% polarized, no slip, no bounce, from vibrant colors to sleek styles. They're a pair of Gooders for every personality, designed for both everyday wear and active individuals that love to run, hike, bike, and much, much more, which leads you to when and where and why do you wear your Gooders? Well, when on a run, playing pickleball, playing tennis, on a hike, going to the beach, driving in the Texas heat, high school football practice, college football practice, I don't know, sitting on the couch and you're trying to ignore somebody you don't want to talk to, whatever. The Gooders are good for everything. If you need a new pair of sunnies, Gooders giving On Texas football listeners free shipping. You can go to gooder.com/OnTexas and use that code OnTexas for free shipping. Gooder offers a 30-day money-back guarantee, which I have to read, and I added a 0,000% satisfaction. It can't be much more than that. Again, that's gooder.com/OnTexas. Use that code OnTexas for free shipping, and I'm quite sure we'll see plenty of the Texas UT Gooders on the 40 coming up here in September.
And Bobby, tell us about Tecovas.
Yeah, absolutely. I can tell you a little bit about Tecovas, the boot of choice. Anywhere worth going is worth going in good boots. I'm sure we'll see some at Texas games this year. Born in Texas in 2015, Tecovas are handcrafted with every stitch on point. Tecovas boots are made for a good time and a long time. I love the fact that they're already broken in for comfort right out of the box. And Tecovas makes it easy for anyone to find their favorite boot with all kinds of sizes and styles. Tecovas are simply the best boot around. I really like that they can be either daily boots or you can feel dressed up for them. Jenny and I went on a date this weekend. I was sporting some boots. That was good. Right now, get 10% off at tecovas.com/Texas football. That's 10% off at tecovas.com/Texas football. But you need to remember, sign up for the emails and text alerts to get that 10% off. That's 10% off at Tecovas, TECOVAS.com/Texas football. With Tecovas Best in the West guarantee, you also get free returns and exchanges for 30 days. That's important when you're buying online. Tecovas.com/Texas football. See site for details. Tecovas, point your toes west.
Thank you.
Somebody asked a great question in the chat.
What you got?
Kyle Vochgas. I'm gonna have to count up the days again. How many days has it been since A&M was ranked number 1 in football? How many days are we up to now, chat? Somebody's got to know. I had a tweet about that last year, but I totally forgot about that. I probably need to revisit.
Have they been ranked number 1 in my lifetime?
No. It may have been 39 when they won the title.
Since World War II?
I'm not sure they've even been ranked number 1 for a week since then.
Were they weren't ranked with Manziel
Nope.
for like a week or two?
Nope.
Not number one. No.
Nope.
I don't think.
I think it was for a week at some other point in time. I've got to look back. Somebody will say it in the chat. It's a thousands of days. Thousands.
That's only 3 years, by the way. Thousands is only a.
No, I'm not.
I'm just gonna put that out there.
In thousands of days.
Texas went about 15 years, 14 years without it.
Yeah, I could have sworn I'm with Nick here. I thought they were number one for a brief moment with Johnny Manziel.
I don't think so.
They've never been. See, TJ's got it. They've never been ranked number one in the AP poll, even for a week.
When did the AP poll start? Carl Padilla just texted me. 1956.
There you go.
68 years.
All right, so that's it's over
20,000 years.
Over 20,000 days.
And hey, but there's only 24 days left in the football season for them to rectify that.
So 1956, right? Okay.
Look, Marcus Myers ranked number one in 2012. 1 week. I'm telling y'all.
How did you get that?
Had
them number one. I knew I wasn't crazy.
But I don't. I think we're at 24,000. We'll have to look at that, Marcus. I'm not saying Marcus is wrong. Marcus has.
I think it depends on which poll you're looking at, too, guys.
Yeah.
Are you talking coaches poll? You're talking AP poll? Who cares?
No, it matters because we're talking the difference between 6,000 days and 24,800.
Let's talk a little more Texas football, if you don't mind. Some reports coming out. Blake, you had some news and notes from practice yesterday. What were some of the highlights that you heard from one of your sources?
Yeah, so talked to somebody that was in attendance, as Bobby said, and man, they just couldn't quit raving about the defense, most importantly. I mean, they said big, fast, strong, athletic, just looked great. Didn't matter if it was the ones, if it was the twos, that they did really well. Yesterday, it seemed like there was two main areas of emphasis for the offense, mainly the running game and then the screen game as well. So practiced on that quite a bit. And then I was told that the tight ends actually had the best day overall. Jack Indries apparently turned in one heck of a performance yesterday, just, making play after play, catch after catch. But the biggest catch of the practice yesterday actually came from KJ Lacey over to Nick Townsend for a touchdown. So apparently it was a wow moment there. But overall, very impressed with the defense, very impressed with the tight ends, and that was the two main takeaways that I got from it.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Like CJ Vogel also said, reported that Michael Taff yesterday was in a green jersey. Taff, of course, the senior from Austin Westlake. One thing I was talking to someone yesterday. He is playing a lot more nickel than people realize, and in part he's doing that because Derek Williams has looked really, really good, like he's back to his old self. So, Jerry, you and I noticed early in camp he was still maybe favoring it a little bit, but now they're saying Derek Williams should be good to go by the opener in Columbus. And that is forced to get Michael Taff on the field, to get Derek Williams on the field and Jelani McDonald on the field all at the same time. Those three they're gonna have to move Taft to nickel. Even though he was in a green jersey yesterday, he played some of that as well, is what I was told.
I just started a question. I'm going to bring this one up. It's a really good one. Dave Rothgibb says, how many years of eligibility do our transfer DTs have? Well, Murad Watson will be at Texas 2 years. I mean, technically 3, but he won't. 2 years for him. Lavon Johnson has 2 years. I believe Hero Canoe can be there 2 years. Travis Shaw is last year of eligibility at Texas. And who am I missing there, Bobby?
Alex
Cole Brevard's final year. So only 2 guys have all their eligibility expired, Cole Brevard and Travis Shaw. Everybody else can technically come back for another year if they want. And Murad Watson has 3, but he ain't going to play college football 3 more years. unless he gets major injuries.
Yeah. Very athletic, Steve Sarkisian said yesterday about Murad Watson.
He's more than the run stopper. He just played that role as a freshman for Syracuse to help them win games.
Yeah.
I think with Colin Simmons to the right and Ethan Burke and Vosick to the left and another high-level defensive lineman to his left or right, I think Murad Watson's going to show out a little bit more as a playmaker than he did at Syracuse. Also, year 2 of college football.
I want to say this. I mean, a lot of people inside the building at Texas think Kenny Baker's a really good coach. The defensive line coach for the University of Texas. They think he can get some things out of guys. So I'm very interested to see how the defensive line performs this year. Really, really interested because it is the interior defensive front is an entirely new group. And so we'll see where it goes. Travis Shaw was said to have had a really good practice on Monday, by the way, from someone I talked to.
So somebody asked earlier about who would replace Bill Norton as kind of that run stopper. Well, I mean, I think Travis Shaw is even a bigger, better version of that.
Yes.
So there's that to start. Cole Brevard, that's what he is. He is a hard to move guy that is going to be really good against the run. I think Texas has multiple guys.
We have a super chat from Syrup Sailor. Thank you for the super chat. Says, is Jordan Coleman working at tackle or guard?
Third team right tackle. His brother Devin Coleman is working at third team left guard. But he may also cross-train at some center during the season. He'll definitely work at different spots. But Jordan Coleman, right tackle, third team. Devin Coleman.
Jerry, that may have changed based on the injury. And Nick Brooks working more at right tackle now. Just putting that out there on Jordan Coleman. Because now they don't have a third. If Brooks is working second team right tackle, they don't have a third team left tackle.
Yeah.
Just put that just so you know.
Yeah.
And on a related note, Roger says, what's the development plan for young offensive linemen to ensure they're SEC ready?
I think that's just Torrey Becton and work with Kyle Flood. I mean, that's really your only answer is it's a developmental position. And that's one of the things about the Texas offensive line is Trevor Goosby's year 3 in the program, the Torrey Becton, Kyle Flood program. Neto, year 4 coming up. Cole Hudson, year 4. Connor Robertson, year 4. I mean, they may not have as many game starts or snaps in major games, but these guys have a lot of programming. Brandon Baker is a year plus as an early enrollee in the program with Torrey Becton and with Kyle Flood. DJ Campbell, obviously, in year 4. Even you go down to Daniel Cruz, he's in year 2 now. I really, in an ideal world, if Texas could have it set up, it would be 2 or 3 years of development before those guys really take. And there's going to be some guys that just zip past today. Nick, and I don't bring up Kelvin Banks because that was dire straits back then. And Nick Brooks, who just maybe comes in and just races past expectations. But majority of these guys, Texas will love for them to sit and develop for 2 years. And that doesn't mean not play, but maybe not be a starter and a heavy snap player. Develop with Torrey Becton and develop with Kyle Flood to be physically and technically and mentally ready, ideally.
Okay, we have a question here from Matt Kester. Matt wants to know, how important is LaFau to the linebacking position?
Steady Eddie, I think he's important. I think he's a really good in between the tackles college linebacker. I think that is his strength, and he drops because he's got good instincts and coverage. But I think in between the tackles, in between the hash marks, he is a really good college linebacker. Now, and I think there's some things you can ask him to do that might athletically push it to the limits. Anytime he has to start playing outside the hashes and close with pursuit, that may limit him a little bit. But in between the hash marks, I think he's really solid linebacker, and he's very important to Texas.
Okay, and then Ike wants to know, is there any update on Santana Wilson and where he is in his development?
Bobby, have you heard anything specific on Santana? He's in a fight for those second, third team guys, or just kind of they're in a battle right now. Some of those guys are going to have to be patient. I heard Texas liked him in his redshirt year.
Yeah, look, Cade Phillips back at practice. Warren Roberson doing some good things. Kobe Black fighting for a spot. Santana Wilson is in a precarious situation. I mean, a lot of these guys are. We talked about this, Jerry. When you recruit like Texas does, the cream is going to rise to the top, and you got to figure out whether or not you're the cream.
or you have to stick with your development, because a year ago, Warren Roberson was in the same position.
I agree.
That's the whole deal. Is are you you have to be a little patient at the power programs. Your patience is definitely tested. I'll say that.
No doubt. Especially when you know that you came in as a high school All-American.
Yeah.
Everybody wanted you, was telling you how good you are. It takes some humility. I'll put it that way.
Some more player-related questions here. Woodcrest says, any update on Wardell Mack?
He's in the rotation at nickel. Grayson Littleton, though, has kind of pressed the go button on that position a little bit. I was told that Grayson Littleton covers the slot fade as well as anybody on the roster, and he's a true freshman. And so Wardell Mack he may be more prototypically sized and et cetera for the college game, but Wardell's one of those guys. He's clearly got his work cut out for him with Grayson Littleton right now. So it's going to be decided this training camp, where he is in that pecking order, especially if they're going to use Michael Taft at nickel, especially if Jalen Gilbo moves back inside the nickel. But we'll see where it ends up for those guys.
And then retired working man, how is Williams doing?
Jonah's back on the field. I know Saturday he took some part in some special team stuff. I think he's back more than that now. I think maybe getting a look in the return game a little bit even.
Big return, yeah.
Yeah.
That.
I mean, which is not unexpected for us. I didn't know if it'd be punt or kickoff return. He's going to get looks in the return game. It wouldn't surprise me if it's not both in time. He's a fearless guy. We'll see where it goes. Safety. He's got a big curve ahead of him, and already missing the first three practices. So it's going to be a little bit of a process with him, but he's so talented.
He really is.
Dave actually said, is Filsaime in the same category as Santana Wilson? I think Filsaime's come on a little bit, but he, potentially all those kids in that class can be. If you get overtaken by somebody behind you, it's a bad sign.
It is, because look, Texas is not going to recruit a dud the next year either.
No.
That's the thing that's going on right now at Texas. You get passed by a younger guy right now, there's no telling who they're recruiting the next year. I will say this: I'd heard some really good things about Xavier. Not just I was told he had a really good spring, really good summer, and moving forward right now. So all of that good stuff.
He's a very talented athlete. His whole deal is just patience and development. Just continue. I'm a broken record, but when you're at these programs, this level, if you just have a little patience, and a little is about a year, right? Year and a half. Just have some patience with your development. Really good things can happen.
A pair of super chats here to get to. But first, Bobby, I'm going to let you tell everyone about Duck Camp today.
Yeah, absolutely. Our friends over at Duck Camp coming back with us again this football season. Appreciate them very much. The Austin-based company right here in the great state of Texas. Look, if you are looking for gear that can live the test of time, that can be out there for people that enjoy hunting, fishing, just hanging out, nice, cozy equipment, that's Duck Camp. It's made for the people that live for the moments out there where there are fish to catch, birds to hunt, time to kill, football to watch. They like doing all that stuff, so they built a company centered on it, based in Austin, and dedicated to giving people best-in-class hunting and fishing apparel. There are those of you that look forward to the opening day of hunting season and the kickoff of Longhorn football with the fervor and excitement of a 5-year-old on Christmas morning. Duck Camp is here to let you know that from opening day to game day, they've got you covered. Here's the great seasons, y'all. Yes, hunting and football. Shop duckcamp.com today. That's duckcamp.com.
Producer Matt made Blake and I laugh. I know. I had two speaking typos in my recruiting breakdown yesterday that were pretty funny.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
I haven't heard about these yet, Jerry Hamilton.
We have some super chats, as I said. Sugarcane Daddy says, if Saban doesn't retire, does Arch still go to Texas?
He had decided to go to Texas before Saban retired.
I think what Sugarcane's Daddy's getting at, and I do think this is never is everybody on the same page and where a kid should go. And people think what they want about Saban being a mercenary, but I was specifically told somebody in the circle called Saban and said, are you going to be there for 4 years if Arch goes to Alabama? And Nick Saban honestly said, I can't tell you I will. And I think that changed one opinion that might have wanted Alabama. But Arch has always wanted to go to Texas. That's a known. But anytime there's recruitment in a circle, people are going to have some different thoughts.
James Williams with the super chat says nobody has been talking about Leona LaFowl, aka Lion.
Jerry, you came up with a good nickname there, Steady Eddie.
Steady Eddie.
Yeah. He is quietly one of the team leaders. He is a guy that leads by example, and he is a starter on a defense that should be a top 5, top 10 defense in the country. So even though we're not talking about him, it doesn't mean we're not thinking about him. I'll put it that way. But when you are overshadowed by the likes of Colin Simmons, Anthony Hill, and guys like that in the front seven, I mean, we don't talk enough about Ethan Burke either, right? There are guys we don't talk enough about Trey Moore because there are legitimate, bona fide, possible first-round draft picks on this defense. So Leonga is a backbone of the defense. That's one of the ways we categorized him. Somebody said, is he the MVP? I would put him more as the backbone. That's happening to a lot of very, very talented players right now. I'll put it that way. He's not alone.
Consistent players in sports that aren't the flashy, big play touchdown scores oftentimes kind of get overlooked. If you think back to Texas basketball, Royale Ivy was that way. But he was heart and soul, steady Eddie, everyday guy. Barron Sorrell, right? Barron Sorrell, not as talented as Colin Simmons. Obviously, Colin Simmons, the flash plays, the National Freshman of the Year. Anytime somebody's a consistent player but not a flashy player, they're often going to get overlooked into how important they are on teams. And Royale Ivy ended up doing it for 12 years in the NBA because of it.
All right. Longhorn Frenzy 1. Thank you for the super chat. Bobby and Jerry, is the Grayson Littleton development and pushing for playing time this early in his college career a surprise?
Yes, I want to add to it, Bobby, for the colleges that recruited him too.
Yeah.
Sometimes guys just race past it.
I don't know what to tell you. I mean, you could have given me 10 names in a hat to draw from prior to spring camp. Now, by summertime, we had heard he was making moves. So depends when you asked me this question, Longhorn Frenzy. But upon signing day, you could have given me 10 names in a hat, and I would not have picked him. I mean, so yes. Like I mentioned earlier, somebody told me he's one of the best guys on the roster, if not the best, covering the slot fade right now because of his acceleration.
Yeah. All right, guys.
That's a tough route to. I mean, I can tell you right now, Jeremiah Smith's going to be running that against Texas.
Yep. Hey, it's time. It's time for oatmeal and cream pies, baby. Tony Mills. Why Tony's all dressed? Where you at, Tony? Man, you look
hey, man.
Something.
Listen. I'm a man of many talents, and today I've taken my talents to the Aspire Tour out here in Dallas, Texas. Man, hearing some great speakers, but I had to jump on, man. I'm committed to the cause here, and I'm a Longhorn before I'm a Fly guy. So let's get it, baby. Let's do it.
Hey, Tony.
Are you speaking or listening? I'm confused.
I'm doing a little bit of both.
Okay.
Hey, Tony, I got a question for you. Texas lost a key backup.
Yeah.
In camp on Saturday night. Andre Kojo is revealed on Monday on Texas football, breaking the news that he was out for the year. And what does that do? I mean, to an offensive line who kind of said, okay, these two guys are going to battle for a starting position at right tackle. Now we got to make some changes. What goes on? I mean, you've been through this. What goes on inside that offensive line room when something like that occurs? What's the next day's meeting look like?
Yeah, I mean, well, first and foremost, man, you hate to see any type of injury, right? You hate to see somebody put in so much work. He's been there for a while as well, about 3 years, and now he's getting his opportunity. And then for that not to even come because of something as freakish as a ACL injury, which I know they haven't. I don't know if they've come out and said, but based off of it being a knee and it's out for a year, just from my experience, that's usually what it is. And so for him, you hurt for him because he's put in so much work, and now he's getting that opportunity, and it seemingly has been taken away from him, at least for this year. So you corral that type of guy because you still want him to be a part of what's being built. He still has a lot of and tremendous value. He's still able to, participate and to give different insights based off of what he's been able to experience and see from others that have been there. So that's that. As it pertains to the camaraderie within the room, man, now what happens is it's the next man up, right? So is that a Nikolai Brooks? I know he's young, but hey, there's a learning curve. You got to learn it because this is the reason we brought you in here. Injuries happen all the time. This goes back to what Mike Tomlin used to say, man, look, no excuses, no explanations, only results. If it's a learning curve, that's the challenge, you got to pick it up. The other guys that's in there, that now it gives them an opportunity, right? So what are you going to do with that? Are you going to seize that opportunity, right? So that's that aspect. And then from Coach Flood's aspect, now I have to figure out who is the best guy or the best guys that I can plug and play, and how do I get them real life game time reps to be able to have them ready in case we lose somebody else. So there's a lot of shuffling that's going down in that particular spot. But it's also an amazing opportunity for somebody to be able to step up, seize the reins, and say, hey, look, we ain't got to worry about it for this year. I got it, right? And that's what I'm looking to see. So it's an exciting time for Texas fans to see what we actually have in that room.
Hey, so Tony, Brandon Baker was going to be the starter right tackle, a prohibitive favorite before the injury. You watched Brandon in the spring. Kind of, what are your thoughts on Brandon as a player? Kind of, what are your expectations for him this year?
I think
big job.
Yeah, what Brandon, he has a lot of athleticism, right? I think the thing for Brandon is he has to tone up, he has to hone in on the technique, right? Making sure that we're not getting overset, being beat by inside moves, making sure that, because he has the ability to recover. But I believe what Coach Flood is looking for from him is just consistency. We know what type of athleticism he brings to the table and what he can do. But the offensive line is about consistency, taking the same steps, being in the same position, having a hat across, right? Being inside out on the block, making sure the hand placements are right. It's a consistent thing every single day. And so in order for you to go out there and be the starter, this is saying that out of the guys that are in the locker room, these are our best 5. If you're seen as one of the best 5, you got to show up and show out every single day. There's no days off. And so I just believe that with more opportunities to be able to go out there and to truly understand what's going on in front of me as it pertains to who I'm playing week in and week out, how do I prepare for this person mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually? All of those particular things, I believe that he has the ability to climb, but there's something that Coach Flood was seeing to where he said, hey, we're going to make this a competition. Was it making it was it a true competition, or was it him saying, I'm going to light a fire under this guy to see if he can find consistency? Was it true competition, or was it saying, you know what, we're going to be in pressure situations? Well, here's a pressure situation of me saying your spot could be lost if you're not going out there and doing what you're supposed to do. How will you respond, right? And so now that has been removed in the back of a Brandon Baker's mind, if it's me, I'm like, okay, how I'm looking at this, is there something that I did to make you guys doubt me? Watch what I do now, right? So that's the way he has to approach this thing. He has to be the best of the 5 every single time, because that's what they're expecting from him.
Jerry and Tony, one of the things I think of this when I'm talking about this Texas offensive line trying to come into its own this year, and the 4 new starters, for example, Cole Hudson moving to center. I think it's a huge move for this team, because Jake Majors has been he's been the centerpiece at center for 4 years.
Yeah.
What is going through Cole Hudson and his move from right guard to center? What are the differences in responsibilities he's having to take on right now, in your opinion?
Yeah, as a guard, you look at it as this, right? You've seen Captain America and the Avengers, right? And at the end of the day, Hawkeye is a great player. The Hulk is a beast. Iron Man does his thing. But when you're the leader, there's a different type of responsibility. I am truly the one in charge, setting up the entire offense as it pertains to the scheme and who we're supposed to be identifying based off of what defenses are trying to do to attack us. I can't be wrong. I can't make a misalign or miss ID, because if so, I can get my quarterback killed on backside blitzes. I have to understand what's happening at all times and get my guys ready. I have to understand when rotations are happening and be able to re-ID and have my guys ready. So there's a lot of responsibility on your shoulders as it pertains to being the center. When I was just the right guard, now I'm playing off of whatever my center says. Yeah, I might help him if he misses a call from time to time, right? If we're looking to, we used to call righty and lefty call. So say we have a safety rotation at the top where we go from two high safeties to a single rotation, and we want to backside ID the backside backer. Maybe the center forgets and the guard's like, hey, re-ID, lefty, right? There's those type of things. But as the center, 90 to 95% of the time, you're the person that's setting the front. You got to understand what defense are doing. That's a different type of mentality, as well as snap the ball, as well as get my face across, as well as drop back in protection, right? All of these particular things. So there's more responsibility on him. But what I'm putting my faith in is that if Coach Kyle Flood is making these moves, there's something that he knows, because he's with those gentlemen every single day. So you just have to trust the process.
Hey, Tony, I know we're 24 days out, but if I said Texas offensive line had a successful day at Ohio State, outside of winning a game, what would be a successful day to you for 4 new starters on the offensive line against a team as talented as Ohio State?
Aggressive nature, being able to bring the fight to the defensive line and to the defense, 1. And then 2 is the minimal amount of MEs, meaning mental errors, as possible. I'm not worried about guys getting beat, man. The best get beat. It happens. What I want to know is, when I get beat, do I get beat on the same thing, or do I make the adjustment on the fly? When I get beat, is my mind sunken in the sunken place, or do I shake it off and understand it's a long game to play? Listen, those guys, we used to say this in the league, but now we're in the NIL space. Look, those guys get paid too. Right? Those guys get paid too. So let's not forget that we're not playing bums, right? And so at the end of the day, it has to be the person that has the desire and the will to win. So the least amount of mental errors, no false starts, right? Let's holding penalties happen. I'm not tripping on that, right? But don't have a holding penalty because you're out of position, because you're not getting off the ball. Those type of things. The things that we can control. As long as we go in there and do those things, I'm fine with the result.
What do you think? Over and under of sacks given up to Ohio State week 1. What do you think, Tony?
They're a good defensive line. If we can limit it, and I know people look at this number, right? But if we can limit the sacks to 3 or less with that defensive line and the type of pressure that they have at their house, if we can limit it to 3 or less, and by 3 or less, I mean maybe it's a coverage sack, right? We've blocked up front, but hey, they locked us down that way. Then we'll be fine. We'll be fine. My thing is the team that makes the least amount of the mistakes, the team that is the most physical and can control the line of scrimmage, I believe that's the team that comes out victorious. I just really want that team to be us. And if I'm banking on it, I'll take what we have at Texas, the coaching staff, the physical strength staff, and the players. I'll take what we have over at Ohio State. One thing that I do know, these guys ain't scared of big pressure moments. They're not scared of it. And that right there in itself, I can't say prior to the infusion of Sarkisian that we had players that weren't a little shaky when we put them out there on the field. These guys are not that.
All right, Tony. Thank you very much. We're going to let you get back to the Aspire Tour. I'm going to have to text you later and ask you about that. But
yeah, man,
taking the time for us today, and I'll have an oatmeal cream pie next week on the show.
I appreciate it. You know, I need that in my life, Jerry. When I come down to Austin in a few weeks, man, I'm coming to you. We're going to take a picture and we're going to put it out here so people will know that the oatmeal cream pie boys are in full effect around here. All right.
Eat one live during the pregame show. How about that?
Tony's going to be out there with us on this Longhorn tour here. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later, but on that Thursday at Happiest Hour in downtown Dallas. Tony, thank you so much, buddy. You have a good one, bud. Hook 'em.
All right. Hook 'em, baby.
Hump Day with Hills. Hey, Blake, if you don't mind, would you bring up that the tour deal that we have going on? I want to mention this one more time today, if you don't mind, because we talked about it a little bit yesterday, and we got some questions around it. On the 19th, 20th, and 21st of this month, myself, Jerry, and others, CJ, I think, is going to be with us. Rod Babers will be with us as well. We're going to be going to Houston. Going to start in Austin at the Schultz Beer Garden. Then we're going to Houston at Social Beer Garden in Midtown, I think, in downtown Houston area. And then in Dallas on the 21st, we'll be at the Happiest Hour in conjunction with the local Texas X's. That'll be us here at On Texas Football, as well as the folks over at 3rd and Longhorn. We're going to be doing, I think Fozzie will be there, as well as Jeremy Hills and some others. But please come out and join us. We have it is free for all, by the way, but there is if you want to do the meet and greet with the former players, et cetera, and get signed autographs and stuff, there are ticket and RSVP stuff that you have to do. Blake will put that information in the chat. Also, if you come to oddtexasfootball.com, I'll create a message board post that gives you all the links to everything you might need for that. But again, not this week, but not this coming week, but the week following, August 19th at Schultz's. Please come out and join us. Same in Houston at Social Beer Garden, and then 21st in Dallas at the Happiest Hour.
Hey, by the way, we have a first in the history of On Texas Football.
I knew you were going to this.
We have a super chat for somebody in the chat. We have a super chat for Joe Z. Here's the super chat, Joe Z. Answer the question. What do you got, Joe Z? What do you got for us? This is a super chat for Joe Z.
What is
somebody pocket typed?
Oh, okay.
Super chat for Joe Z.
I think that was a mistake. Okay, it's a joke. I wasn't getting the joke at first.
We do have a super chat, but first, Bobby, I need you to tell everyone today about our sponsor, Adam Lowy and the Lowy Law Firm.
Yeah, absolutely. Adam and the Lowy Law Firm been helping injured Texans for 20 plus years. Reach out to them at loweylawfirm.com if you've been injured in a car wreck, truck wreck, automobile accident of any kind, from 18-wheeler to ATV. Adam and his firm will give you a free, no strings attached consultation to see if you might be due compensation. Again, that's loeylawfirm.com. Adam, thank you so much for sponsoring On Texas Football.
All right, guys. Well, we got time for a question or two. And like I said, we do have a super chat. Girded Loins, appreciate you. Said, thought on our plan for Jay Smith. We know they're not going to let last year happen again. It's as simple as get their quarterback's eyes down on the pass rush. A lot of good receivers.
Yeah, to me, Girded Loins, you hit it. Make Sayin, and I do think he'll be the starter, make Sayin drop his eyes. The best way to take away tremendous receivers outside of just great coverage is to make the quarterback move his feet and force him to drop his eyes. If you put a guy under duress enough, he's going to miss wide receivers that are wide open. Only the greats don't drop their eyes in those scenarios. Young quarterbacks it might happen with Arch. Some of those guys are going to drop their eyes when they really start feeling the heat. But that's one way. Of course, Ohio State's going to have a different plan for Jeremiah Smith. It may be more in motion. It may be in the screen. They're going to get the ball in his hands more in this game this year. The biggest thing for me, don't let him go 8 for 200 against you. That's the biggest thing. If the guy's a great player, if he goes 6 for 99 against you, you probably take that and walk away right now. If you play Jeremiah Smith most weeks, and 1 for 3 is not happening again.
Last year, they played man over the top of him and gave up stuff in the run game to Ohio State. That's how they played him. That's how Texas played Jeremiah Smith last year. I'm just here to tell you that, Ohio State lost what was proverbially their number 2 wide receiver, Emeka Egbuka, to the NFL. He was the first receiver taken, I think. Travis Hunter was the first receiver taken. But point being, he's a first-round pick. Carnell Tate is going to be asked to fill that role this year. Mylan Graham. Ohio State does not lack for talent at wide receiver. We'll see what they can do opposite Jeremiah Smith as well. I want to add one thing. Another thing that really helps getting a quarterback's eyes down, Jerry, is upfield pressure up the middle.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see how Sayin or whoever wins that job gets that takes that pressure.
All right. And we have one last super chat this morning from Jeff Carey. Thank you, Jeff. Who's the fastest player on the team?
Sounds like Ryan Niblett from the responses of players during the player availability. They feel like he's the fastest on the team.
Makes sense to me. I mean, he was a 10-5 guy in high school, and he's now 3 years into a Torrey Becton program. I'll say this. Is it possible the fastest guy in pads on a Saturday is Grayson Littleton? Because it's instincts and speed combo.
I think maybe 0 to 10 it might be.
Yeah.
I don't know about a 40-yard dash. Depends on how you're quantifying fast.
Yeah. Football and pads and a helmet, just reactive fast.
I mentioned this last night on the live stream. Somebody that came in with surprising speed downfield was Emmett Mosley. And I'm not saying he's super fast or anything, but he apparently clocked 22 miles an hour plus on the catapult system, which is really strong for a guy that's 200 plus pounds, the new wide receiver. So we'll see how that all goes.
All right, guys. Well, that's going to do it for today's episode of Coffee and Football, presented by Adam Lowy and the Lowy Law Firm. I want to thank Adam, along with Tacova, Scooter, and Duck Camp, all for sponsoring today's show. Of course, thank you all for tuning in as well. The great questions, the super chats. Bobby, what's later today?
We got several things coming up. First of all, we've got the state of the program. Myself, Jerry, CJ Vogel, going to talk a little bit about what we've heard thus far in camp across the board. Then we're also going to do a freshman report later today. Jerry and myself get together, talk about all the freshmen that have entered and what we've got. And then we have a live stream later tonight. Don't miss ontexasfootball.com right now. We had 3 different reports from last night's workout or yesterday afternoon's workout. Blake, you were a part of that. CJ Vogel had some. I had some this morning as well. Make sure you get a subscription to ontexasfootball.com for all your Texas football needs. Come join the community and do what you can to listen and look on as the Longhorns head into the season with the #1 national ranking. Use promo code OTFOG right now to get $20 off an annual subscription instead of $15.95. It's $39.95. Use promo code OTFOG.
And don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button as well. Ring the bell so you're notified anytime we go live, post content, whatever it may be. And between those two avenues, we got you covered around the clock. We will be back same time, same place tomorrow. Hope you all have an outstanding day today. So for Bobby Burton and Jerry Hamilton, I'm Blake Monroe, and we'll see you next time.